Hello, and welcome to another rousing edition of Bobby's Podcast featuring Woody Powers. And normally he's in the host position because on the radio, that's what you did. And I have to say, now that we have kind of been separated from the morning show, how does it feel to kind of be on a podcast with me, like leading you in? Is that weird?
No, because I've never been a person who is all about control.
Okay. There's no ego is what you're saying.
No.
Okay.
That's partially true and partially not
To
true.
take it back to our old roots, Woody, take it away.
So I had something really strange happen to me at the gym this morning. And there's always weird encounters at the gym.
You broke a sweat.
I burned some calories.
Right.
Strange!
That's right.
No, so I was going swimming this morning, and I've noticed there's this phenomenon with people. You can tell when people are really good swimmers. They probably swam in high school competitively or college.
Yes. They just fly through those laps.
Yes, and they prep differently. And so there was this girl, and I could tell that she was a
typically
really
like the stretching and all that stuff.
Yes, they take so long, and this is what I don't understand, because I've seen this happen before, and I've always wondered why it takes so long. So this girl, she puts on her bathing cap, which by the way I've always found a little bit strange. I get it; it helps you cut through the water and keeps your hair dry. I mean, you don't want it flying around, but still, it just looks weird.
It does.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like if I came in with a cap on, it would just be bad.
I'd love to see that. In fact, I'll start swimming if you do that.
I would look like a beluga whale.
Be nice to yourself. We don't fat shame
People
on the podcast.
would be feeding me fish as treats. So
throw some chum in. He's back in, boys.
So this young lady gets up there and she's got her cap on, and then she's just sitting there doing all sorts of weird things. She's cleaning her goggles meticulously. She's just kind of doing the stretches like you did.
Sure.
But I've noticed that really good swimmers, they spend maybe 10 minutes before they jump in the water. There are astronauts that prepare for space quicker than these people. It's
so serious.
Whereas I'm very efficient. I waddle up to the side of the pool. I jump in. The water spreads around quite a bit. The children are usually scared.
Children, cannonball!
And then I swim around like a hippopotamus in a Disney documentary about
gracefully making your laps.
Yes.
Do you swim a mile?
No, not anymore. No? I haven't swam a mile in a very long time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but anyway, I always wondered, what is the preparation? Why most athletes? Maybe I'm wrong. I always feel like they don't take that long.
I don't know, but when I used to swim, when I used to go to a gym called Villa Sport, they had a really nice swimming pool. And actually, you inspired me to start swimming because when you said you did a mile in, I don't know, some insane amount of time, I was like, really? I was like, I wonder if I can do that. And I tried, and I was like, I am way out of shape because I'm not a swimmer. I do bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I can do cardio forever. But swimming is a whole different gambit of fitness to me.
So when we first started working together, I told Bobby, I said, I swam a mile yesterday and I did it in 50 minutes. That was my best time. And
I heard 15.
Yeah. Even at 50, he didn't believe me.
He was
like,
you're lying.
Yeah, he did not believe me.
Right.
And I could not convince him that I had actually swam a mile.
I could have sworn you said it was less time, but I digress. I took up swimming because of that. But what I noticed was, yes, I ran into some very serious swimmers. And in fact, what they did was they helped me up my time because, like I said, when those professional or former professional swimmers go in the water, they just go back and forth, and it kind of almost amped me up, almost like I was trying to race them.
Which is weird because I do that too, and I didn't know that anybody else did that.
I think
faster swimmers would be in the water, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to try and keep up with them. Of course, it was futile.
And the thing that got me was they were typically older people.
Yes.
And they were in phenomenal shape, and they were swimming. And I'm like, I know I can beat this old man. And that man smoked me.
No, yes. He'd be the same guy that would physically throw you off of his lawn.
I know.
Just in such good shape. I saw a guy today, and again, he was a really good swimmer because he had the cap on. That's how you know.
That's right.
And, I mean, nobody like me is going to wear a cap.
What about the nose plugs? Do they do that?
Sometimes they do the nose plugs. But he must have been in his mid-70s, and I'm not kidding.
Gosh.
Six-pack abs, muscles. Yeah. Just a tiny little bit of gut flab, but in phenomenal shape for being 75 years old.
And I think that's the key to longevity is keeping active. And I think swimming super good for low impact exercise. So
yeah.
I should probably take it back up, but
yeah, I always wanted to make a movie called Floaties about an Olympic swimmer that had to use floaties in order to compete.
So like the Rudy of swimming.
Yes. But for some reason, like he had some sort of psychological thing that he couldn't get past.
Right.
So he had to have the floaties on because he had a fear of drowning.
Right.
But he could still swim really fast.
I would love to see Simple Jack doing that movie.
Yes.
Floaties.
Yes. Or just anybody. I don't know. I mean, there's a number of people out there that could probably. I think Leonardo DiCaprio would be great for something like that.
Well, I love to ask questions on the podcast because people interact. They like to leave comments and all that stuff. So, if you're a swimmer, what's your best time? What's your best mile? Because what's your best time?
50.
Okay.
I was never able to break that.
I got up to 46 minutes.
And that's really good.
And I thought I was going to die after that.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard, and I had been swimming for a long time before I ever got up, but I've heard, I think I read that like 30 minutes is a really good time for a mile.
Yeah.
So, not close to that, but, if I was out in the middle of the ocean, stranded, I think, if I could make it back a few miles and
Especially if you see that great white shark.
yeah, then I could totally break that. I could totally break that 50
Where the shark says
50-minute mark.
dinner.
Lunch.
Thank you for watching another episode of Bobby's Podcast.
It's good hanging out with you today.
It is.
It is hanging out with you.
Thank you for being on the show. And you can find Woody Powers at 929peakfm.com, also on the radio.
Thanks for the plug.
92.9 on the dial. You start at 10 o'clock after the TJ show.
Yes.
And you can find me here at Bobby's Podcast on all major socials and wherever you get your podcast streaming.
Yes, Bobby actually lives in this storage space.
That's right, because I can't afford to live in my own home
He can't afford
anymore.
to live on his own anyway.
He took me in.